What about the cocktail trees for that average homeowner? Because I already know your feelings about it, but maybe share that with other people. Those people who are like, well, I want to get one tree with maybe an early, mid, and late season all on one tree.
Yeah, if you don't have the space, okay, if you don't have the space for multiple trees, or let's say more than a couple of trees, then sometimes that's your only option. That's all you can do if you want to add varieties to your yard, is to do multi-grafted trees. I don't like to practice that here because we don't need to do it necessarily. And because when you do that, in most cases, you will have to fight one of the varieties for canopy control so that one of the other ones can thrive. So it doesn't always work out the way people think it will, but if you are going to try to do that, okay, and I understand the motivation for doing it, you want to try to pair the vigor of the varieties as best you can. You don't want to put a Valencia Pride and a Julie on the same stump because the Valencia Pride is going to outgrow the Julie 10 times out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
So and there's tons of examples of that. And there's minute differences in rates of growth that can matter and how they grow. So some of them have more open canopies, more spreading canopies. Some of them are more vertical growing. And in most cases, the ones that have more spreading canopy, even if they have the same rate of vigor as the vertical growing one, a lot of times the spreading one takes over the canopy over the vertical growing one. So that happens too. It's a complicated topic. And
if people asked you for a multi-graft, would you do them? Or
no, we don't offer multi-grafted or cocktail trees. There might be some nurseries that do it, but none of the big ones do. The method of grafting we do does not lend itself well to doing something like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But when you multi-graft a small rootstock, you really have to keep an eye on both grafts instead of just one. And really the success of one graft often comes to the detriment of one of the other ones on a small rootstock.
Right.
On a larger established tree, that's not necessarily the case. So, but we don't do that, unfortunately, and we do get asked for it. I won't say frequently, but we get asked for it every year by at least a few customers.
Assuming the growth rate is the same, 3 trees, 1 hole.
3 trees, 1 hole. Yeah, you can do that. Again, you're trying to pair the growth rate, so that's not too much different than grafting them on the same stump. And you're probably going to find the same issues that even when you're trying to pair them, one might outgrow the others. For example, we have a lot of honeykiss trees here. Okay. Honeykiss is a dwarf maybe 80% of the time, but 20% or so or whatever, they grow like more moderately vigorous trees. So let's suppose you planted honeykiss and a pickering and some other dwarf as the third variety. Maybe you get one of those 1 or 2 out of 10 honeycisses that outgrows the other dwarfs. And so your intent made sense, but the results don't necessarily turn out that way.
Yeah, you can't predict
so
how it's going to
you don't know how it'll go, but if you compare the vigor as best as you can, it's fine, especially if your grafting skills aren't very good. So, planting 3 trees in very close proximity so that you're kind of sharing a canopy space is an option to try.
Okay. Well, I think we've taken up enough of your time. I know you got a million things to do, but unless there's anything else we need, but I know you got busy. But
cool.